This is Twit.
Former lobbyist for the cable and wireless industry, who happens to be the current FCC chairman, Tom Wheeler, is getting pushback on his proposed rules for net neutrality. Internet companies, more than 100 of them, signed a letter to the FCC yesterday saying they're alarmed by the rules. And 2 FCC commissioners have publicly expressed concerns as well. They're Democrats, just like Wheeler, so he's got his work cut out for him there. And a standing protest is growing outside the FCC headquarters in Washington. It looks like there's a new iPhone on sale there, but no, they're protesting the FCC. Now, if reports are accurate, Wheeler's proposed rules allow broadband providers to offer, quote, paid prioritization, unquote, which gives those who pay better connections in that last-mile service to homes and businesses. The commission has scheduled a vote on the rules 1 week from today on Thursday, May 15th. That may or may not happen. We're going to find out very soon. And with us to discuss this, we have Brian Fung, who's a reporter for the Washington Post. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on, as always. We also have Amy Schatz, who's a reporter for Recode, and she wrote about this as well. Welcome, Amy.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
And finally, Katie Bachman, who's a journalist for Adweek, and Katie is joining us by telephone. Welcome, Katie.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
All right. Now, Katie, the FCC Commissioner, Jessica Rosenworcel, I think is the correct pronunciation, called for next week's FCC vote on the matter to be delayed by a month. First of all, why is she calling for that? I mean, what good would that do? And second of all, how likely is it that the vote will be delayed?
Well, there's 2 questions there. She looked at the torrent of comments that are coming in, and they're starting, the FCC got like 4,000 phone calls, and they're not used to handling all these consumer calls. They also had to open up a special email box for people to send in comments, and I think they're just getting inundated. I think from Jessica Rosenworcel's perspective, she wants to have a little more time to sort all this out. Now, I don't know if it would do any good if they delayed another month, but I don't know. It seems like there was another statement from Wheeler later after all this came out, and he seems to be digging in. We have to remember that even though they're going to be meeting on this and they're going to kick off a rulemaking proceeding, nothing is certain, right? Things can still change between then and the time that the commission votes on the final rules, sometime maybe by the end of the year. So I don't know if Wheeler is convinced, but Commissioner Rosenworcel certainly took a very, very strong and quite surprising stance. I mean, Wheeler's taking a risk, I think, by putting this up in, next week. But
yeah, absolutely. And now, Brian Fung, how do we know what we think we know? I mean, everybody's talking about these proposed rules. I haven't seen them, and I don't think they're quite public yet, right? What is it that we believe is being proposed here, and who knows about this and who doesn't know about it?
That's right. The rules will be unveiled publicly for the first time next week, officially at the FCC's meeting. And what we think we know is basically that the FCC is considering a proposal that would allow internet providers to charge web companies for better, smoother access to consumers. And this is set off a lot of people, especially consumer advocates, that's partly what's driving a lot of the concern and the comments to the FCC.
Yeah, Mike, there's something else that we definitely know here, and that is I'm not convinced that the average person knows enough about net neutrality, understands it enough, cares enough we're talking earlier about the risk that Wheeler's taking and these kinds of things. I think it's a calculated risk in his part. He's saying, look, the majority of people out there don't know what this is all about. They don't understand it. They don't get it. They don't care about it. They don't, whatever it might be, even though it will affect them very deeply. So is the onus then on us over the next week, all of us, in the technology community, is the onus on us to bring this to the people, make it exceedingly clear that this could have a profound impact on all of our lives? I think that's a real risk here. It's a real issue. At what point is the average person going to truly understand how big of an issue this is?
And Amy Schatz, can you take that question? And also, can you give a sense of how much all of this opposition will actually affect the outcome here?
Right. I don't think that the average person has ever understood net neutrality. And we've been talking about this for the better part of a decade now.
Right.
So, the fact that, my mom doesn't understand what's going on here, I'm not sure that she's ever going to understand that or if it really makes a big difference at this point because we're still talking about draft rules, which frankly no one has seen. I think that, it was very interesting yesterday that so many of the companies came out against this proposal, particularly big name companies like Facebook and Google and Microsoft. And these are companies that spend an enormous amount of money in Washington lobbying. And frankly, their concerns are heard more by Congress and regulatory agencies than the normal person on the street. So, the fact that those companies had a unified stance yesterday about these rules, I thought was extremely significant.